Regret and anxiety are powerful forces that steal our present. They rob us of the ability to enjoy life as it unfolds, trapping us in endless cycles of rumination over the past and worry about the future. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, offer tools to help us break free from these mental traps and reclaim our peace. In this video, we'll explore 5 Stoic ways to deal with regrets and anxiety, giving us the opportunity to live fully in the present. Number 1. Acceptance of what we can and cannot control. The foundation of Stoic philosophy rests on the critical understanding that there are things within our control, and there are things that lie beyond it. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, emphasize that our happiness and tranquility depend largely on this distinction. This principle is one of the most profound ways to deal with regret and anxiety, as both often arise when we resist accepting what is outside our control. Regret typically arises from reflecting on the past, where we wish we had done things differently. The anxiety we feel about the future is often rooted in fears that things will not unfold as we desire. But both of these emotions are responses to things that we cannot change or predict. Regret traps us in a cycle of what-ifs and if-onlys, while anxiety keeps us chained to hypothetical futures. The Stoic response to these emotions is not to fight them, but to understand their root cause and let them go. Seneca writes, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." What does this mean in the context of regret and anxiety? It means that both emotions often arise from a failure to accept reality as it is. We yearn for the past to be different, or we project a future that hasn't yet happened, both of which only serve to rob us of peace. The Stoic approach encourages us to focus on the present moment and recognize what we can control in it. We can control our thoughts, our reactions, and our choices. What happened in the past is gone, and while it's important to learn from it, we can't change it. Likewise, the future remains uncertain, and while planning is wise, it's futile to worry about it. Worry does not change the outcome, but it does erode our peace. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us." This simple distinction can serve as a powerful tool to navigate feelings of regret and anxiety. When faced with regret, ask yourself, what is in my control? What can I do now to make amends or improve myself moving forward? Similarly, when faced with anxiety about the future, ask, what can I control in this moment to prepare or act wisely? These questions help to reframe the situation, moving us from helplessness to empowerment. The essence of this Stoic practice is to relinquish attachment to things outside our control and focus on our own responses. By accepting the limits of our power, we free ourselves from the weight of regret and anxiety. We learn to live in harmony with the flow of life, understanding that not everything is ours to change or control. Whenever you catch yourself spiraling into regret or anxiety, pause and reflect on the present moment. Ask, what is within my control right now? Focus on taking small, deliberate actions that are within your power, and let go of what cannot be changed. Number 2, focus on the present. The Stoic philosophy is built on the understanding that the present moment is all we truly have. While the past is a collection of memories, and the future is merely a set of possibilities, only the present offers us the power to act, reflect, and grow. This principle is not only fundamental to Stoicism, but also deeply transformative when it comes to dealing with regret and anxiety. When we find ourselves overwhelmed by past regrets, it's often because we are holding on to moments that cannot be changed. We replay events over and over, wishing we had done something differently, or we ruminate on lost opportunities. Similarly, anxiety arises when we try to control or predict the future, imagining countless scenarios that may never come to pass. Both regret and anxiety arise from the mind's tendency to leap between what is gone and what is yet to be, leaving the present moment neglected and undervalued. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, offers this profound reminder. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is a call to presence, a reminder that life is fleeting, and the only moment we can truly engage with is the present one. The Stoics weren't advocating for reckless spontaneity or a lack of planning, but they recognized that any fixation on the past or future only drains our energy and robs us of the fullness of life. Living in the present allows us to experience life as it is, impermanent, unpredictable, and at times imperfect. But it also grants us the space to act with clarity and purpose. The Stoics teach us that when we are fully immersed in the present, we can make the best possible choices. We are no longer bogged down by what might have been or paralyzed by what might happen. Instead, we are empowered to respond to life's challenges with grace and wisdom. When we focus on the present, we also create the mental space to practice mindfulness and presence. As Seneca wisely notes, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of our anxiety and regret is driven by imagined scenarios that may never come to fruition. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we free ourselves from the grip of these false narratives and can engage with life on a deeper, more meaningful level. In practical terms, focusing on the present can be as simple as slowing down, taking a deep breath, and fully engaging with whatever you're doing at the moment. Whether it's a conversation, a task, or even a moment of solitude, bring your full attention to it. The more you practice this, the more you'll begin to experience life without the noise of regret or anxiety clouding your perceptions. Whenever you feel regret or anxiety creeping in, gently guide your thoughts back to the present. Focus on your breath, your immediate surroundings, and the task at hand. Remind yourself that the present moment is the only one that truly matters. Make a habit of being present, even in small everyday activities. Number 3, Seneca's wisdom. Acknowledge the past, don't get stuck in it. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, offers us invaluable insights into how we can view the past through a Stoic lens. He encourages us to acknowledge the past. Acknowledge our mistakes, our regrets, and the lessons it offers. But he also reminds us not to become imprisoned by it. The past is a chapter in our story, but it doesn't need to define us. Regret can often feel like a weight around our neck, dragging us backward. But Seneca urges us to free ourselves from the chains of the past and instead learn from it so we can move forward. Seneca writes, "Time is a great healer, but it can also be a great thief if we let it slip away in remorse or idle reflection." This line encapsulates the essence of how Stoicism helps us deal with regret. We can spend endless hours lamenting what went wrong or beating ourselves up over missed opportunities. But that time, once spent, is lost forever. The Stoics teach that we cannot turn back the clock, and there's no value in revisiting the past repeatedly. The only true value comes from the lessons it imparts. One of the central Stoic practices is the idea of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice involves reflecting on potential challenges or failures in advance, so that when they occur, we can face them with equanimity. But just as we prepare ourselves mentally for difficulties in the future, we must also come to terms with the difficulties of the past. This involves acknowledging our errors, learning from them, and then letting go of the emotional attachment to those past events. Seneca advises that, instead of revisiting the past in a cycle of regret, we should focus on the present moment and use our judgment to shape the future. He writes, "What is past is no longer in your power, but the future, by reason of your judgment, is." This teaching aligns perfectly with the Stoic principle that we can control our present thoughts, actions, and attitudes, but we cannot control the events that have already transpired. The present is where we exercise our power. The key idea here is learning from the past without being shackled to it. Stoicism teaches that regret is unproductive because it involves reliving events that cannot be changed. We don't erase the past, but we free ourselves from the emotional weight it holds over us by accepting it as a part of our journey, not the entirety of our story. To practice Seneca's wisdom, it's important to recognize that we are not defined by our past mistakes. The Stoics emphasize that our virtue, our ability to live a life of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, is cultivated in the present. By accepting the past without lingering on it, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth and change. When you feel regret over something in the past, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this knowledge to shape my present choices? After you've gained the lesson, consciously release the emotional attachment to the past. Redirect your energy to the present moment and the actions you can take now. Number 4. Marcus Aurelius's reminder: the past and future are phantoms. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, frequently reminds us in his meditations that both the past and the future are phantoms, fleeting and insubstantial. He urges us not to give them more power than they deserve, as our fixation on them is often the root of our anxiety and regret. The past is no longer with us, and the future is uncertain. Only the present moment holds true power, and this moment is where we can exercise our agency, make decisions, and find peace. Aurelius writes, "The past and future are only as real as we make them. It is our attachment to them that makes them feel like burdens. The past is dead, and the future is but a shadow of the present. The present is where we live, where we act, where we are." His words emphasize that the past and the future only affect us if we allow them to. By fixating on them, we give them weight that they don't inherently possess. The present moment is all that is certain, and it is in this moment that we can find peace. Regret often stems from our tendency to relive the past. We dwell on decisions we wish we had made differently, or we blame ourselves for mistakes that cannot be undone. This constant revisiting of past events traps us in a mental loop that prevents us from fully living in the present. Similarly, anxiety arises when we constantly worry about what might happen in the future, fearing outcomes that have not yet materialized and may never come to pass. The Stoic perspective, as articulated by Marcus Aurelius, is that both the past and future are under our control only in the sense that we choose to dwell on them. Their true power lies in our fixation on them. Aurelius urges us to minimize the impact of the past and the future in order to preserve our emotional equilibrium. The present is the only moment where we can control our responses, make choices, and live authentically. By continually returning to the present, we protect ourselves from the stress and turmoil caused by regret and anxiety. We must remind ourselves that the past is behind us and the future is uncertain. Neither should dictate our emotional state. The Stoics did not deny that the past and future exist. They simply understood that the present is where life happens. The more we cultivate awareness of the present moment, the less power past regrets and future anxieties will have over us. This does not mean we abandon responsibility or cease to plan for the future. Rather, it means that we do so with a calm, clear mind, free from unnecessary worry. Next time you find yourself dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, pause and remind yourself, the past is gone. The future is unknown. This moment is where I have power. Focus on the task at hand, engage with the present, and trust that the present will provide all you need to move forward. Number 5. Epictetus's guidance. Cultivate gratitude for what we have. Epictetus, another central figure in Stoic philosophy, offers a powerful antidote to both regret and anxiety: the practice of gratitude. He reminds us that it is not the things we lack that cause our suffering, but our perception of what we already have. When we focus on what we don't have, or on what we've lost, we give more power to our regrets and anxieties. Epictetus teaches that we can shift our mindset by cultivating gratitude for what we already possess: our abilities, our relationships, our present circumstances. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This is not a call for asceticism, but rather an invitation to appreciate what is already present in our lives. By acknowledging the things we are fortunate to have, whether it's health, family, wisdom, or simply the opportunity to make better choices in the present, we shift our focus from lack to abundance. In doing so, we disempower the emotions of regret and anxiety, both of which often stem from an overwhelming sense of dissatisfaction. The Stoics believe that true contentment comes from within, not from external circumstances. It is our internal attitude, our ability to appreciate what we have, that determines our peace of mind. When we feel regret, it often arises from a feeling that something is missing or has been lost. Similarly, anxiety about the future often stems from a fear that we won't have enough, won't succeed, or won't be happy. Epictetus teaches that by focusing on gratitude for what we have right now, we cultivate an inner abundance that renders both regret and anxiety less relevant. In practical terms, cultivating gratitude is a powerful practice. It shifts our attention from what's wrong or what's missing in our lives to what's right and what's present. It helps us recognize that even in the face of difficulties or challenges, we still have much to be thankful for. Acknowledging our blessings, big and small, helps us reframe our perspective and prevents us from becoming overwhelmed by the weight of what we don't have or what has passed. In moments of regret, Epictetus would advise us to shift our attention to the present and recognize the value of our current situation. What can we be grateful for in this moment? What lessons have we learned that we can carry forward? When we cultivate gratitude, we begin to see the richness in our lives, even when things don't go as planned. Gratitude serves as a reminder that no matter the circumstances, there is always something worth appreciating in the present. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you are grateful for. Start with small, seemingly insignificant things: your breath, your health, the people around you, your ability to choose how you react. By training your mind to focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you shift your internal narrative and reduce the power that regret and anxiety hold over. By embracing these Stoic practices, we can release the grip that regret and anxiety have on our lives. The present moment is the only true point of power we possess, and through the wisdom of Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, we can learn to focus on what we can control, acknowledge the past without getting stuck in it, minimize the influence of the future, and cultivate gratitude for what we already have. Living in the present allows us to make better choices, free from the weight of past mistakes or the fear of future failures. By reclaiming our attention and energy from the phantoms of the past and future, we can create a life of tranquility, purpose, and fulfillment. Let go of past regrets, release future anxieties, and meet each moment with Stoic poise and presence. Remember, the present is a profound gift, a fresh start available at every moment. Embrace it fully, and you'll find that regret and anxiety lose their power, leaving room for peace, clarity, and a life well lived.